Yo, what is up guys, it's me Eve again here playing Tokyo Ghoul Break the Chains. In today's video we're gonna take a look at the new Kaneki, Natsu Matsuri that dropped with the new event. Obviously we're gonna take a look at the Touka as well, but it's gonna be tomorrow, so stay tuned for that review of her. But in today's video we're gonna take a look at him. Also there is gonna be some stuff that I'm gonna talk about Touka as well, kind of like a preview about Touka, because we're gonna be comparing them a little bit in terms of who is more useful and what there's some benefits to one compared to another and so on. So first of all, obviously he's a strafe character and Anteku orc. So let's take overall ranking list where he stands, what is his basic stats, are they good, bad, and everything like that. So overall he's decent, I would say. His basic stats are not too lackish, but they're not something crazy. Some stats are like HP, for example, and attack are a little bit on the lower side when I would expect him to have, because again his attack usually he seems like a more of a field character, for example, compared to Touka, who has at least 2 backup abilities. And in that sense, I would once I first saw him on the leaks, obviously we talked about them on the stream. You can tune in for the streams if you want to. I stream every day. So in those, we saw that he seems like a field character, obviously, and because of that, I assumed he at least gonna have insane attack, maybe, because currently meta is a little bit changing for how the Anteku is played. They're now not as usually they would be they don't care if you start first or you start second. You would go for a survivability build, or usually compared to now. But now it's more about having the CP advantage as well as having insane amount of damage, so you can kill the enemy before they can kill you. And in that sense, his basic stats in terms of attack are a little bit lackish, as well as his defense and HP are a little bit on the lower side, I would say, when we're gonna take a look at his kit as well. And obviously that's where there's some stuff. He has a taunt, and if this character is meant to be a taunting character when you need to take a lot of damage into him, I think his defense and HP could have been better. To be honest, you might as well given him the same amount of basic stats as you would give for someone like Chief. Where's he? Here. Chief's defense and HP are on the very good side. His survivability is really good. I do like that in terms of basic stats, obviously. And in that sense, I would assume that you would give him the same. But it seems like they thought maybe that's too OP and they didn't do that. But okay. I mean, overall, his basic stats are mid, pretty mid, nothing too crazy. CP stat is on 11, that's fine, that's not crazy, but that's not really bad either. So in terms of overall stats, okayish, nothing crazy. The active skill that he has deals smite damage equal to 440% to one character. Smite ignores the defense and block chance for this damage. So Smite is really good. This is the same that, for example, Arima has. He also has the Smite, and he can ignore the defense as well. So again, in terms of Arima, he does show that thing can matter in a lot of stuff, for sure. So in sense of active skill, he's not bad. His damage is alright. In terms of 0 stars, for each Anteku character in the entire allied team, basic ability values of the entire team increases by 3% up to 12%. At the start of the battle, grant yourself Fortitude effect for 2 turns and grant allied characters Resist effect. If all allied characters are Anteku, additionally grant Self-Obstruct effect. So Fortitude HP related abilities increased by 15%, defense related abilities increased by 10%, and put self into the provocation stand. So this is where his taunt comes in. Preventing all attacks to self, diverting, sorry. During Fortitude, immune to debuff effect and weak effect. So that's also really good. Again, always when you have a debuff effect immunity, that's always really good. It doesn't matter on what character you have it. It's always really good effect. Especially with that's one of the reasons why, for example, Teen Hinami was so good. As well, she's still a pretty good character, but because she has the debuff removal as well as she has a debuff immunity for 1 turn that she can give. Resist attack-related abilities increased by 5%. For each 5 reduction in the current HP, attack additional increase by 2%, up to a maximum of 12%. Obscure, for every 4 reduction in current HP, defense and block rate increases by 1%, up to maximum of 15%. Provoke draws all attacks to you. So this is his taunt ability. So in terms of the taunt ability, it does work the same as, for example, you would have the charm. Like basically the same thing. Charm does the same thing in terms of you just draw attacks, and everyone except for like someone like Jason can draw attacks onto him. And obviously those characters that can bypass the towns, they don't give a fuck about this one. But that's just only one character in the whole game can do that, as well as only like some AoE units don't give a fuck about this as well. So for example, if you think this is gonna help you versus someone like Green Arma, nope, this is not gonna cut it, because Green Arma's main damage comes from the passive, and that passive is AoE. So if you think this is gonna help you, nope, he's still gonna shit on you with his AoE damage once he gets his passive procs, of course. So in terms of 1-star, at the start of your turn, if self does not have a fight hard effect, grant self 4 fight hard stacks, a max is 4 stacks. When taking active skill damage, convert 1 fight stack effect to self into a decline effect and grant it to the attacker. So fight hard, pen rate increases by 4%, damage deal increased by 5%. I think in this one it's a little bit... I know that now currently they're giving the pen rate to everyone. They used to only give it to like Jason characters. The Jason characters used to be the only ones who actually get the pen rate, but now it seems like they're giving like pen rate like to everyone. And in that sense, I think pen rate kind of loses a little bit of the identity. I'm not against them giving pen rate to everyone. That's obviously good, but I think it would be nicer if some specific teams would have better pen rate compared to others. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's just, you know, the identity of the Jasons were that they have a high damage, they have like a really big pen rates. That's why they're always like shitting on whatever your characters with the lowest CP or lowest HP are. They're like maximizing their damage output with that pen rate. But now it kind of gives it to everyone. And decline, all ability values reduced by 2%. So 3rd star, at the start of your turn, if self current HP is below 50%, immediately deal ultra preemptive damage equal to 180% of the attack to the enemy character with the highest attack. Before self dies, immediately deal ultra smite damage equal to 300% of the attack to the enemy character with the highest HP. So ultra preemptive increases their damage by 30% if the enemy's HP is above 60%. Ultra smite, for this damage, ignore defense and block chance, reduces the target's block chance by 30% for 2 turns. So overall, I had a friend who did like go and test this guy out on a triple S. He got the full triple S on Touka team. So he basically went and tested it on different things. I was looking at this, or obviously live on the Discord. He was showing me. So we went into the endless trials. We did the boss fights. We did the PvP content as well. And to be honest, in PvE content, this Kaneki was doing nothing. Like literally nothing. And when I'm talking of PvE content, is his damage was very low. It's because in terms of PvE and PvP, the difference is very huge, especially in the end game content. So like on endless trials that are like max out level, like the last stages, the enemies have like their tanking abilities are so much stronger than for example, like any whale that has in PvP. Their defense capacity as well as like their attack capacity is so much higher that this guy was doing nothing. Like he was actually useless in there. His taunt was also kind of useless because he would just take taunt for 1 turn and he would die on the second. because he would be getting so much damage into him, and his survivability wasn't like enough at all, and he would be just dead, like literally dead. In that sense, in PvE, the red Touka, as well as like for example even green owl with the gut cell, are much more viable, because at least green owl can heal, and red Touka doesn't give a fuck about your damage because she has a struggle that makes her stay alive much longer than this guy. In that sense, I didn't really like him in PvE at all. The damage, even on triple S damage, his damage was very small. Like even on a 3-star scale, with Team Hinami, without Team Hinami, we tried different teams. So we were like trying, for example, let's say what, for example, this is the usual Anteku that you would see. We tried putting him here with a Team Hinami like this. For example, switching up the, let's say, red Touka, or like a owl, whatever you're using here. So we tried this one. We tried using him over this Hinami, so we would put the owl here as well for the sake of damage boost, as well as the all of the boosts that he can do. So like we switched the Team Hinami as well. We tried this one, and it still was not working. Even we tried a few times switching up the green Touka for this guy here, and still leave the Team Hinami in here, and it still wasn't enough. Like his survivability is so shit on the end game content. Obviously, in early game content, he would be gut. He doesn't die at all. But if you're thinking about using him for the end game content in terms of PvE, he was not cutting it, unfortunately. This guy was dying all the time on the second turn, especially if you're facing the AI Ayatos. AI Ayato was just demolishing him. I don't know. So in terms of the damage capacity, he was doing all right. He wasn't doing like any crazy damage. He wasn't doing insanely shit damage either. But also, like the only stuff that was really making a good damage was this one. So once he procs his passives, this is where his damage would actually shine. Like this damage was nice. Other than that, when he was using active skills on like 1, 2, or 3 stars, it was really shit, to be honest. I didn't see any use for that in terms of PvE content. In terms of PvP, he was doing much better, obviously, because on PvP, you have less, like, you know, the nerfs, you can say, because obviously the AI on the end game is much more OP, because they have the defense of a fucking mountain. When you're just hitting a fucking mountain, it feels like you're hitting and trying to hit a rock with your bare hands. So that's how it goes there. But on PvP, it was a little bit different. He was actually useful with his talent, but again, his survivability again was really questionable. I got so many damage into him versus Aogiri. Not me, sorry, but the guy who was testing. So like he would be dead all the time because of the like Easter Ayato would just debuff the fuck out of him. Then it would be the Psy Ayato doing all of his passives into him if you're not using, for example, the charm, or if you're using the charm on him as well. He would be getting so much shit on him that he would die second turn always. Like versus CCG, he wouldn't even survive first turn because Red Arima would just demolish him instantly on the first turn. Again, we fought versus Wales that had the 2 gut cells on the Red Arima, as well as they had all full triple S like team of CCG. Even though we started first, we still got a shit on him on the first turn because he was taking obviously the towns on himself, and Red Arima would just shit on him so bad. It was crazy. So because of that, I don't really like this character. I did really like this 3rd star. This passive procs were really good, but again, they were not enough to make him a character that deserves to be like in the main team. In a second team, I think it was better, but again, second team is meant to be a second team. That's why you're not using him in the main team, because main team is obviously only the characters that are meant to be there and that are OP. And he wasn't that. So obviously, compared to Red Touka, sorry, not Red Touka, but the new Touka that dropped the backup Natsu Matsuri character, she was actually doing more damage than him overall, because we tested her on the triple S as well. We're going to talk about that in the review as well on her. But she was doing more damage than him on triple S. Like, and she is a backup unit, bro. She's a fucking backup unit, as well as if you look at her stats, her attack is number 36. Her basic stats is even lower than him, like more than 10 already as well. That's a huge difference. She and she was doing more damage than him. Like, for example, he would do on a 1-star skill, he would do like around 800 to a mil damage. Again, with Team Hinami, for example, as a buffer for him, he would do like, this is a decent amount of damage. For a 1-star skill on Anteiku, doing a 700 to 1 million is actually decent. But, for example, she would do, with a 1-star skill from buffs on the Team Hinami, she would easily do 1.5 mil of an AoE damage. So imagine your Kaneki is doing that to one character compared to Touka that does that to the whole fucking team. That's a big difference in terms of damage. So she was doing actually much more. As well as her survivability, I felt like it was much better than him. Like, obviously the basic stats, in terms of basic stats, she has a much better basic stats here in terms of defense and HP. And it does feel like that. Like, even with just having her on the field, when, like, in the first turn, all the characters would be attacking her, she would still survive it. Like, she would not have any problems with dying compared to this guy. And he's also a talent dealer. So that's something for you to understand there. So in terms of should you go for him, I would say it's questionable. It depends if you want to build a second team for Anteiku as well. You can get him to D and stop there. I think if you're getting him for the purpose of talent, for like specific content that you want to do, sure, you can get him to D and stop there. It's okay. Maybe for now use him as a second team on your second Anteiku, and you're gonna be fine. But if again, if you're not looking to build Anteiku second team yet, or maybe you're, for example, you have a main Anteiku and you have like a CCG as your second team, then there's no point. Like, there's no point in going for him. You can just skip. Maybe you get him for 0-star for the sake of just collection sake. You know, that's fine. Other than that, you can just skip him. Okay, so no point in going for him. I did see some like highlights with him. It wasn't the worst, but he didn't feel like he's needed in any team. Other than that, hopefully you liked the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, as well as join in on the Discord. I always post notifications for the videos as well as for the streams there, and I stream every day again. So if you want to tune in for some, like, we do reviews, we do summons, all of that live. So if you don't want to miss those, you can tune in for the streams again. Hopefully you have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.